Hi, Melanie Beckler here with Ask-Angels.com. I'm super excited to have Miles Beckler on with us today to talk about how to thrive as a spiritual entrepreneur. So I think a great place to begin is to ask you, what is a spiritual entrepreneur?
Yeah, great question. And to me, a spiritual entrepreneur is someone who's following their heart, following their intuition, that little voice inside that says, go do this, offer this to the world, and who's focused on being of service to an audience and really kind of creating or producing things or offering things to the world that's really of the highest and greatest good for all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great definition, aligning with what you love and enjoy and shining that forth in the world. So a part of the reason that I was inspired to do this video is as we move in calling in the new energy, calling in the new light and the new earth, one of the messages I keep getting is create. It's about creation, allowing that awakened creativity and divine creativity to flow through. And spiritual entrepreneurship is a great way to do that. But is it required to be a spiritual entrepreneur to flow forth creativity?
It's a great question. And, you don't have to become a spiritual entrepreneur, and this video is not designed for everyone to try to convince people to become spiritual entrepreneurs. I really think that we're trying to speak to the people who feel the calling. They want to replace their income from a cubicle-based or kind of a 9-to-5 based, very 3D world of generating the income to something that's much more fulfilling and more heartfelt. And we've kind of been through that process a few times. We found a lot of ways that didn't work. We found a few things that consistently work over and over again. And that's what we want to share here for those who are kind of like hearing the calling and feeling the inspiration and the motivation to go for it, because being an entrepreneur is kind of a confusing path. It can be somewhat of a lonely path sometimes, but yet when you kind of align things right, it's more fulfilling because you're doing your job work in the world, right? You're doing what you came here on earth to do, and you're aligning with the abundance, and you get kind of into that abundance exchange to where you're offering value and you're receiving, and you stay, and it can be a very magical alignment when it does work. So it's not for everyone. It doesn't need to be for everyone, but for those who are being called, I think that's why we're coming together right now to share.
Absolutely. So creating is an essential part of the spiritual path. But if you have a job that you love, or if you're retired, it doesn't require starting a business and becoming a spiritual entrepreneur. There's many ways to create. But again, in this video, I have Miles here because he really helped me align with how to thrive in abundance while also getting my messages out, the angel messages out, to make the world a better place. So what do you think, what is a core component of going from, let's say, struggling spiritual entrepreneur to truly thriving, which when I say thriving, it's getting your message out, reaching your audience, and also aligning with abundance? What's one of the core ingredients?
Well, I think the core stems from within, and it often, for us both, there was a long period of meditation, of dissatisfaction with the way our life was going, and you need to be able to quiet your ego mind enough to hear what's in your heart. And you need to really get in touch with your life's purpose. Now, this is a little bit of a paradox. There's a quote out there, your life's purpose is what you say it is, right? So there is something unique about every one of us. You have something unique about you that you're bringing to the world, and it's a mashup of your upbringing, your parents, the environment you grew up in, the beliefs you grew up with, all of the experiences you had through school and outside of school, and all of that makes you a 100% unique being on this planet, and you have the ability to help people. So it's about going within and finding that overlap of what you're naturally good at, what comes easily to you, what kind of has been around, what you've been studying or your education or experience for years and years, and what's fun and joyful for you. And when you find that intersection of those things and you just decide for yourself, this is why I'm here on the earth, I'm going to take this to the world and I'm going to help as many people with this as possible, things change for you. Like literally the universe can begin to mold around your vision, your beliefs, and your actions. With that said, it still takes a lot of action and it takes a lot of trial and error, but when you know that this is why I'm here and this is what I'm going to bring out to the world, that's the biggest starting point, because then you can move boldly forward. It takes time. It takes there's no shortcut to it. It takes a lot of time and energy. So when you know at the core of your being that this is my mission on the world, in your heart, you know that's what you're here to do, everything from that point feels easier. Whether it is easy or not doesn't really matter, but the doubt, the negative self-talk seems to fade away because the mission and the vision drives you so powerfully. When you really connected with channeling and channeling angels, and we had this interesting period of life trying different ways to earn income, because we all need to make income in this world. You can't avoid the dollar world or the pound or whatever, the euro world, wherever you're at. We can't avoid that completely. So it's like, how do we figure out what the work and the creation we're going to do in this world is? And when you aligned with channeling angels, and you were just like, I love this, I'm going to bring this out to the world, I sensed it, and we knew it, and it was like, cool, this is what we're going to do. We're going to dive in. That was like 2009, and over the course of several years, we found a lot of things that didn't work, found some things that did work, and now we've got some good momentum, which is what we want to share. But it came from, for both of us, a point of almost dissatisfaction with the 3D world, and then out of that was, what is that thing we want to share to the world? And then that deep commitment to, this is it, this is what I'm doing, this is the mission in the world. Obviously, it's evolved for us, and it will evolve for you, but that commitment to a greater cause, to a greater vision, to be of service to an audience, to share your natural gifts and talents with the world, that is the starting point for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I love the way that you said that, really aligning with your core reason why. And if that's strong enough, when your core intention is strong enough, we've talked about this here on this channel before, then you can weigh your opportunities and actions against that core intention. And when it's in alignment, things just unfold, and your team of guides and angels, the universe, can open doors, and things have a way of progressing. So totally agree with you on that. I think that's huge, that the first thing is really, what is in your heart? What's your purpose? I'm a firm believer that every human being on this planet is here for a reason, and so many of us, that reason is to elevate the vibration of collective consciousness, to clean up the planet, to raise the frequency of the earth. So once you know what that core thing is, so let's say I have either a kind of jewelry I make, or a reading I offer, or a massage, or something. Let's
go there real quick. Sorry to interrupt,
no,
but
that's okay, yeah.
I think it's important to share that it doesn't need to be channeling. It doesn't need to necessarily even appear to be spiritual. It can be making high vibrational jewelry. It could be becoming a massage therapist. It could be working with animals and somehow working with people and animals, right? Like horse therapy for people. There's so many ways that this can manifest. And it could be sharing vegan food. You could do vegan meal prep, right? You could make meals for busy executives in your city that you live in, and you could do their meal prep every week. You spend your Sundays, etc. So like the ways this can manifest for you are so diverse that because we're doing what works for us, know that for you it could be cleaning, it could be like, it really can be anything in this world. So
yeah, it's just like finding that intersection of something that you love and enjoy, that's fulfilling for you, that also is truly being of service to an audience in the highest interest of all. No one's getting harmed. There's no sweat factories involved there. It's truly like a beneficial service product offering to the world.
Daycare with local kids in your area, and you take them outside and you teach them about the natural world, and you teach them growing tomatoes and vegetables when they're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old type thing. It can manifest in many different ways.
And I think oftentimes, so there's towards or away from are ways that we as human beings are motivated in. And so pay attention to both of those things. What are you just drawn to? What do you want to throw your energy towards? What do you want to create? Okay, great. That is a great area to go into. But there also is, what are the challenges that you just can't look away from? Where do you see that we need reform, and we need healing, and we need light? maybe that's where you're meant to
problem
focus.
solution,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you can offer solutions to a group of people who have problems, there's a business model potentially in there that could A, help all of these people with something that's a challenge to them, and B, create the abundance that you need to pay for your life so you can then elevate and help more people and create more solutions to more problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned business models, so I think that's a good lead in. So what is there like a kind of general business model you could hash out that most people would fit into?
Absolutely. Because so we're in the digital age, right? Like this video is being recorded on Melanie's cell phone, right? So it's not like we have any elaborate anything going on. YouTube is free for us to upload to. So we just, first of all, admitting and realizing you're in the digital age, and to connect with your audience is going to have a digital component. Now, every human on this earth is more comfortable doing and creating content in one of three ways. There's video, there's audio, or there's the written word. If you go back in time to when it was the radio, the television, right, and the newspapers or printed books, that was it, and that's still true today. But today that manifests in WordPress blogs for the written word, YouTube for the video content, and podcasts for the audio content. And everyone needs to create content and put out content in a way that is going to connect them and grow an audience. So you've chosen, actually you started with WordPress, with the written word on WordPress, but you obviously do YouTube video. For me, I don't enjoy writing that much. It's not something I feel drained by it. I don't feel kind of charged by it, and I judge the product I create, the written word I create, way too much. But for me, turning on my cell phone and recording a video, that's fun and easy, so I look to YouTube as my main point of creating content. Some people, it's photography and it's pictures, and there's Instagram and Pinterest that are two image-specific things. So it obviously is a function of your business model, and you need to think, where are the people who would be served by what I create hanging out? So if you make high vibrational jewelry, and that's what you do, and you make high vibe jewelry, for example, and you're like, I'm making the absolute best shielding and protecting and light body and aura infusing jewelry ever in the world, great. Now you need to connect with people who want that. Where do they hang out? Well, they're on Instagram and Pinterest in this specific example. So you need to start putting out content, putting out the images of your jewelry, using the hashtags, learning how to actually market on these platforms in order to connect with the individuals you have, because there's people at home sitting in bed with their tablet before bed, looking on Pinterest, looking at jewelry. And are they going to find yours? Maybe. If you take the time to put out the content, create the content, and publish it to that platform, that person might find it, they might pin it to one of their boards, they might click through, they might buy it and get it sent to them. Instagram's a very similar way. People hop on Instagram. Those two examples are kind of like the modern day magazines in some senses, and a lot of people just look through and they see something like, I have to have it. That pendant, that tourmaline pendant is the most beautiful. I have to have that. Click, boom, I'm buying it right now, because we live in that instant gratification world. Now, that was a very physical, tangible thing. What if you're doing like the childcare idea that I explained? Well, maybe you start to blog about how you're doing things in a different way. Maybe you were a part of a Monsanto school and you like the Monsanto world, but yet you want to make what Monsanto does.
Montessori.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
Way off. Please forgive me for that. That was way off. Montessori school. Wow, how about that? And you want to really kind of help bring that kind of education to your local community. So you can start to write articles about how you're doing it differently, about how parents can get their kids out in nature to help the kids connect with the natural world. And you start putting out this content, and sure enough, busy moms who are at work, who are looking for a daycare for their child, who care about outdoor time, they'll find your blog posts through Google when they're searching for services in their local area, because you took the time to create that educational content and publish educational content. It's the law of attraction takes over at that point, right? Like the law of attraction is not think about what you want, sit on your hands and hope that it shows up, and meditate and say affirmations and meditate and say affirmations. The law of attraction is all about put out to the world, actually publish that which you want to see, publish your thesis, your ideas, your perspective on the way it should be, and then you will attract the right people who want what you have. That's exactly what we've done with the Ask Angels brand. It started with literally like, you can channel. This is really cool stuff. We both get a really high vibe from it. You did a few free readings back in the day as a part of your channeling training, and it was like, people love this stuff. Let's figure out how to get it out to the world. We didn't know anything about the web. Neither of us are designers or developers by trade at all, but we had this calling to get it out, and we started to publish, and here 9 years later, still publishing, growing a very large audience from that effort. And that's where everyone starts, and that's how you need to start, is to essentially publish helpful content that your audience will be searching for on the platforms that they're physically on.
Awesome. So just for clarity's sake, so there's your core product, service, offering that could be content, or it could be something physical, tangible, it could be a service, and then you're creating content that's linking back to that service. That's
Correct.
What you're saying, right?
Correct.
So you're creating content on Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, to link back to that.
And so it's almost more important than linking back, it's to educate them. It's to educate them on the new ideas. So if you're making high vibrational jewelry, you educate them on what high vibrational jewelry is, how it works, why it works, what that gemstone is, what that gemstone does, right? Why the 3 different gemstones you used in that pendant and you're putting it on silver, why all of that is going to be beneficial for them. It's educational content. And in the Montessori school version, sorry about that slip earlier, like in that example, why is having kids outside so important for parents? Why is your daycare different? Why do kids get different experiences when they learn about the natural world? And you put out educational content. That's really the key, I think, is to educate first, and then when people are searching for information, they find your information, they read it, they're like, wow, this is so helpful. They begin to know, like, and trust you. And once they know, like, and trust you, their willingness to click through and buy the pendant, or to reach out to you to come tour your little daycare facility, etc., that goes up massively once they know, like, and trust you. And they know, like, and trust you because you've offered helpful information.
Yeah, and this is really powerful, whether you are offering a service that's very local based and you're attracting people in your local economy, or if you're tapping into the connected economy and able to reach people around the world. Either way, people are more and more looking to their phone and to Google for what's going on in my community, or what products and services can I bring into my home to use. So by creating content, offering value, giving educational information, you're able to reach and educate people who are then going to be naturally drawn towards what you're offering, because you've already given them value through Instagram, through Facebook, whatever it is, through your blog. So this can work in conjunction with, say, hustling on the ground, selling at the farmer's market. Like, so do you still think there's a play in thriving as a spiritual entrepreneur? There's still like local based things?
100%. And like, I think you nailed it with the farmer's market idea, right? Because the type of people who go to a farmer's market want artisanal, handcrafted types of things. But I think that you also document it and you publish pieces of that to the web, right? So if you have an Instagram account and you're putting all of your stuff out for sale at the farmer's market, make sure that gets on your Instagram account, that you take a picture of the booth that you've set up. You let people who are in your audience know, come find me at the farmer's market today because I've got a bunch of new stuff that I've never revealed before. So creating your own audience and then tapping into other audiences is an absolutely fantastic way. Those who find success online or find success with a spiritual business are those who create their own audiences. If all you're doing is creating artwork and you're hoping that a gallery does everything else, or that some person shows up and magically gets the word out and magically gets all the sales done, we don't live in that day anymore, right? There was the time when the music band got deemed by the record label, you are the new hot thing, and the record label did all the work and the record label took all the money. We now live in a time where we choose ourselves and we self-publish our way to the top. And I think it's a great idea if you have physical wares to do farmers markets, to get it in front of people who are kind of your kind of people, and do that one-on-one. There's psychic fairs that go around. If you're really spiritual, you can kind of get a booth at a psychic fair. And to me, I do think that you'll make some sales, but what I think that you can get from an experience like that is feedback. One-to-one feedback, right? Does what I create solve the problem for my audience that I think it solved? Do they get it? Does this make sense to them? Where am I missing? How I explain what I do, does it click? Does it connect with them? And that kind of feedback will really help guide you through the whole process of creating essentially a spiritual business. And I think playing both games, if applicable, makes the most sense. But you don't have to limit yourself to your local economy, which is so empowering, because a lot of us want to live in small towns close to nature. I mean, some people, sure, you might want to live in a big city, millions of people around, but we live in a town of 10,000 people. But our reach is the potential of, everyone who's online, which is billions of people. And I like being in this small town because we get to hike, we get to meditate, we have this peaceful kind of energy that we live within, but yet we haven't limited our potential reach thanks to the digital world that we chose to come in. And we all chose to be here right now. Like this was a choice at the soul level to be here now. And I do believe this is a part of it. It's never been easier to grow an audience. It's never been easier to create abundance by being of service to a large audience, because we're so connected.
Yeah, and in my perspective, the new earth and the new connected economy, there is so much room for all of us to step forward as leaders in sharing what we're passionate about, what we love and enjoy. And I think one of the tricks or keys is to really go inward again, know yourself, and ask yourself, how may I serve? And how can I serve in a way that I'm going to love and enjoy? So if you do love going to the farmer's market, okay, great. But then how do you document that to reach the digital audience as well as the in-person? And I think documenting is a great way. If you're a jewelry maker, document your process, share your process. If you're painting, share your process. But really, how can you build excitement? I think a lot of times spiritual people have an aversion to marketing. Let's reframe that and think of marketing as just sharing education and passion and excitement about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so something that,
there's one thing I wanted to throw in here is, if you don't know what your product is, right? You're like, well, I'm not a jewelry maker and I don't do the whole like homeschooling kids thing. Like, if you don't know what it is, that's okay. I believe it's better to start with finding the audience you want to be of service to first. Right, so if you're passionate about organic backyard gardening, or if you live in you just have a small patio, you don't have a backyard, but yet you just crank out tomatoes and you got container gardening on point, and that you love your container gardening, start a blog or a YouTube channel around your passion and just start sharing what you love. You'll grow the audience and then figure out what they need help with. And then you can find or create products to solve their problems. When I started a brand around kind of just the digital marketing stuff, I didn't have any products, I didn't have any ideas, I didn't know what I was going to offer when I started. I knew just in my heart, I have to get this stuff out. I have to teach this stuff for free. No one's doing this. I know how to do it. It's my job, my role on earth to get this stuff out. And for 120 days, I put out a video every day teaching one little thing I knew, and I just went and went and went. Over that process, in the comments and in the kind of experience of connecting with people and sharing, I started to notice, people have a really big challenge with this. And I was able to create very specific kind of trainings and teachings around that, and find partners that I was able to recommend and generate affiliate income, etc. But I started giving of my talents to the audience first, not trying to give to get, right? Full law of attraction, 100% giving to give. I just want to give to give. I'm trying to leave a legacy, get this out there to the world, and that aligned with me identifying those big core challenges that I've now been able to help those people solve, and that is where the actual kind of revenue came from, was helping them solve the problems. But I didn't see what those were at first, I just started.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because getting started creating online, there's this thing called resistance that pops up. That is ego, that is this voice of doubt and fear even. Oh my gosh, I'm putting this out there. Is everyone gonna hate it? And that can be a huge block. And so committing to doing a 30 or 90 day challenge where you're putting out and creating content every day is huge, because you say, you know what, resistance? Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm doing this and I'm creating, and you can really build momentum. And once you have momentum, it becomes so much easier.
Yep.
And really that consistently getting your message out is huge towards building an audience. So we've talked about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WordPress, these places to build an audience. Do you recommend building an email list?
Oh, obviously. So, and that was a very leading question, and thank you for that, because that's really important.
Talk about this.
Yeah, so the idea of an email list, the first step, as we mentioned, was go within into your heart and find what you're really truly passionate about. Then create content and publish it out into the wild, whether it's on Instagram and YouTube and your blog, your WordPress blog, etc. And that is so you can kind of create an audience. You can connect with new people, because when someone's searching on YouTube, they might find you. When they're searching on Instagram, they'll find you. When they're searching on Google, they can find you when you become a publisher of content. But then the next step in the process is to build an email list. And building an email list that's actually your kind of inner circle, right? Or the first level of your inner circle. These are people who have fallen in love with your stuff and they want more. And generally, you create a free offer in exchange for their email address, and that's how you get them to sign up. So for Melanie's brand, it was get a free angel message, right? A free MP3 angel message at ask-angels.com/love. You can go there if you're not on the list. You can see how we do it. It's a very simple page. There's just 12 words, and it says, hey, get a free healing angel message. Enter or click here to get it. You click, and it says enter your email address. And then we have a system that puts your name, your information on an email list, and it then delivers you that thing that you opted in for. Now we have an email list of people we can further the relationship with. And at that point, we further, and it's best for you to further nurture the relationship to help them get to know you, to like you, and to trust you. And that way, when it's time to offer something to sell, you have an audience, a captive audience that you can reach with an email. It's essentially like your kind of your distribution channel. So if you're an artist and you've been documenting the process of creating let's say a really big painting, right? Like let's say like a 48 by 48 canvas. I don't know if that's an actual size, but that sounds big to me. I'm not an artist if you haven't noticed, but I'm not a painter. But anyways, you're documenting the process of creating this high vibrational, beautiful painting. You've been documenting it all along the way. You've sent a few updates to your email list. It's been on Instagram. You've blogged about it. It's made it on your YouTube channel when it was 30% done, 60% done, and then you did the I'm finally done version. Now you have all these people who have followed you, who have been along the process. You've brought them along the story. You've brought them along the process. And when you send that email that says, hey, my painting's finally done, who wants it? And you offer it for sale for whatever price you feel, or maybe you have prints being made, you had a high quality scan and you're doing a limited run of prints, you're gonna print 125 of them, and you're like, hey, limited time offer, I'm only sending out 125 of these before I retire it and sell the original. You have a group of people who know you, like you, trust you. You're able to reach them in email, which we all open our email. We all have apps on our phones. We all go to email on our computers, right? You're able to reach them directly and offer them the opportunity to obtain that thing that they've seen grow. They've been through the nurturing process of that painting. They've fallen in love with the painting weeks ago. They're ready to go at that point. And that's the idea I was saying earlier of we build our own audiences in this day. We don't hope the gallery sells that for us. The selling was done when you were documenting the process. When it was 60, 70, 80% of the way done, there were people in your audience who were thinking, man, if she offers this, I'm gonna buy it. Like, I love it. That is the most beautiful. This is mine if I get a chance to go after that. And you'll have that opportunity to create that kind of a relationship. Jewelry can be the same way. If you run if you're doing the daycare idea, you can have, obviously there's a waiting list. You can educate parents on what they can do at home. You get that next level of connection of people to get in their inbox to really share more helpful, valuable content that puts a smile on their face, uplifts their day, maybe teaches them something they can do on their own that's fun. I would have to say, honestly, I believe that the email list is the most valuable asset we've created in our business, and that is generally in digital business or even a real brick and mortar business. The email list, your customer list, and your prospect list, the people who opt in for something free, that is your most valuable asset ultimately, because it's your distribution channel.
What we've done in this idea of the distribution channel is you're not QVC or Home Shopping Network, buy this, buy that, it's so great and it's amazing and it'll do your dishes and clean up after your dog. You're just giving value and teaching and sharing and being of service. And then, once in a while you drop in an email, do you want to buy this painting, or go through my course or book a healing session or book a massage or come to this event. And if you've given value leading up unto that ask, you don't really have to sell it. You just offer it.
Yep.
So this is the shift away. You don't have to be salesy. You don't have to use these persuasion tactics. Give value and then offer people an opportunity to buy what it is you have. And what you have, you believe in, right? Because it's in alignment with your heart and it makes a difference for everyone. So why not share that with the world?
I mean, so one example I would have to say is just Oprah, the Oprah show back in the day, right? Like, she came from an incredibly challenging upbringing, if you're not familiar with her story. So, like, I mean, if you feel like you've had the deck stacked against you, read her story, learn about her story. Everyone's had a lot of challenges on the path. But what she's done or did when she was really running that show every day was she cultivated an audience of people who tuned into her messaging, and she shared those things she loved. And when an author got on Oprah, they hit the bestsellers list. They sold tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or more books. When people put courses together that went through the Oprah network, they literally sold millions of dollars worth. Oprah never sold anything. Oprah built relationships, shared what Oprah found helpful in this world, and that was it. And people got to know her and like her and trust her because of how vulnerable and authentic and real she was. She was honest about everything. She never sold a thing, but at the same time, she probably sold more through television than anyone in history. Like, it's not a statistic or anything, but I'm just trying to make a perspective shift from, it's not the QVC style. It's a hugely important thing because people think, oh, now that they're on my email list, I need to like buy today, buy now, buy, like try to get people to buy, but you don't. You just need to continue to be authentic, share helpful, valuable information. And when you have something that is of value, or your school is now enrolling, or that piece of art is now done, or that new ring or pendant you made is now done, you just let people know there's an opportunity to obtain that thing which you've created if they want. If not, you're going to keep the helpful emails coming, and so on. And that's how it really works, because it's in alignment. You're always giving value, just like people who only watched Oprah, they still got value. They got to see the authors, they got the bits, they got the ideas. They really felt like their lives were improved. It was never selling in that process.
Yeah, so through your emails, through your blog posts, through the YouTube videos, content you're creating in the world, giving value. And if you're able to have that value match up, so there's an alignment with what you're selling. So if you're selling vegan dog food, it's probably not going to benefit your spiritual business a whole lot to do a massive blog about galactics and extraterrestrials. Okay, maybe if you can tie that to veganism somehow, but keep it focused around what you're selling. If you can give people an experience with what you're selling for free, that's naturally going to entice them to want more through giving value,
right?
Not
so
through
on
selling.
the vegan dog food idea, right? So let's say you teach people how to create vegan dog food, or maybe you have a brand of vegan dog food that you're trying to bring out. You can teach people about how to train their pet. You can teach people about the good toys that are made with ethical, sustainable materials. There's a lot you can do, but it should all be relevant to pet owners and their pets, right? Dog owners and their dogs. Every post doesn't have to be about the vegan dog food, but it does need to be relevant enough to where it's going to connect with dog owners, because ultimately dog owners are going to be interested in the vegan dog food content. That's a great point.
So the dog owners would be your audience, so you could speak to them about all kinds of things that are going to help take care of their dog, with vegan dog food being at the core.
And then you could talk about vegan collars, you could talk about the sustainable collars, how a neck collar is bad, you need the shoulder collar, like there's all kinds of directions it could go, but ultimately keep in mind who you're speaking to, what their challenges are, and how you can help them.
Okay, cool. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Anything else? What would you say on your path as an entrepreneur? What helps you stay fired up and not getting burnt out or frustrated?
Good question. The path? Shifting the focus from what's in it for me, what am I going to get, to the audience. Right? Like this video we're creating right now, we're 35 minutes in or so. This is the third attempt of recording this that you didn't see the other attempts that didn't quite work, right? This is not about us. We're not here to get from you in any way, shape, or form. And the knowing that what I create in the world helps people better their lives, and that true belief that this is my job and this is why I'm here on earth, this moment in the digital world, that drives me. I know for you, creating the channel, the kind of feedback we get from Ask Angels from the meditations is it's amazing, right? We're literally helping people change their life through meditation, and that kind of feedback, it's just shifting the focus from what's in it for me, what am I going to get, to how am I going to be of service to the audience? How can I be of service to you? What can I do now to help you on your path? And always thinking about my audience and truly caring about my audience's needs, problems, challenges, goals, desires. Always thinking, like when we're at the farmer's market, which we're about to go to after this, like I'm thinking, how can I teach my audience more, right? Like I'm always thinking about how can I help my audience go further. And then when it's time to write an email, I have these ideas because I think about it all the time. Or when it's time to make another video, it's like, oh yeah, I can make a video about this because that happened, this happened, and boom, I get to help them with this. And really shifting to be of service to an audience and disconnecting from the outcome. Right? If I can win at the game of life by saying I'm here on earth to be the most helpful internet marketer in the world, and I can go put out more helpful content than anyone else, I win. Because that's my goal, right? If my goal has a very specific number and a very specific date, I might not be in full control of that, but I am in full control of how much content I publish, how much I put out for the audience, and how helpful I am to that audience. So just staying focused on the audience and putting their needs first is, ultimately, you just can't lose when you focus like that, and it's more fulfilling in my personal opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something to keep in mind is that everyone who you see online, every spiritual teacher, every entrepreneur,
best-selling author,
every best-selling author started at zero. They didn't have an audience. They didn't have any guarantee that the world was going to enjoy their message. But they had that inner calling and passion and fire and started creating. And I feel like I was inspired to share that because I think a lot of people are afraid to start because there's this idea that we have to be successful fast and we have to have 50,000 followers fast or else we're a failure. No, like just start getting your message out. And if you're reaching 3 people, or if you're reaching one person, when I first started doing these group channeled calls way back in the day, it was like Miles' mom, Miles' aunt, and the 2 of us. There was maybe one other person who had learned about it.
Literally, it was 5 people on the first call.
But you know what? I still showed up and gave it my all. I still created the space and channeled the message. And that one person who shows up, give them an experience with what you have. Be of service to that one person. And if you continue to do that, then more people are going to be attracted, and you just continue one step at a time being of service.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow an audience. It's not, let me wave my magic wand at you and now you have an audience. No, you have to put in the work and be of service. And when you're of service, then the people who you can serve are attracted to you more and more.
If you look behind the scenes of any overnight success, you're going to find 10 to 20 years of hard work, of education, of in the trenches working, of no one heard of them. There's an event that happened, right? They got on Oprah, boom, everybody hears about them. But man, there was 15 years of struggle, of hard work, of showing up every day, of putting out content every single day. And most people don't see all those years of effort and like the 9+ years that you've been blogging and putting out videos and Instagram and social media content, like at a feverish pitch for 9 years, right? Like, so when you notice someone like, damn, they're so far along, just realize, man, they've just been putting in the work for 5, 10, 15, 20+ years. One other note before we go, I know it's 38 minutes. Thank you for staying with us. We paid a fair bit of money to go to a Hay House seminar to learn what Hay House, the publishing company, looks for in new authors and what they want. And all Hay House, we paid like $1,500 to go to this, and all Hay House cared about was how many people you connected with on social media, how big is your email list, how much blog traffic do you get. Hay House expects you to bring the audience to Hay House before they'll even consider your book, even if you wrote the most amazing manuscript in the world.
They flat out said it doesn't matter how good of a book you've written. They don't care about the book. It's how big of an audience do you have and how many
Meet Tracy, their CEO, live on stage, and we got to see Louise Hay live in person at that same event, so it was a great example. But again, they still look to you to create the audience, and that's what we're saying here too, and that's what we were already doing that when we went, and it was like, all right, full on, let's build our own audience then. And that is the approach, and when you really put your audience's need first, if you're an aspiring author, that's how you sell a lot of books. That's how people hit the bestsellers list, is because they have an audience of people to sell to. It's not the manuscript, it's the fact that they put in 15 years, 10 years, 5 years of building an audience through blogging, through YouTube, create an email list, they give a lot of value to the email list, and then when the moment comes to offer their book, they've put so much goodwill out there, the law of reciprocity takes over. And when you've given goodwill to hundreds of thousands, I mean, ask-angels.com got over 5 million visitors on it last year. 12 months, 5 million unique human beings on this earth came and consumed at least one piece of content. When you give enough value and you touch that many lives, you're like, hey, I got a new book available, go grab it over here. Surprisingly, lots of people take you up on that action. Yeah. And that's what most people are missing. They're like, I wrote the book, why isn't it selling? Why isn't it selling? It's because the audience is what matters. And that's true whether it's a book, whether it's jewelry or vegan dog food or all of it. It all works in the same way. And the coolest part is, with the cell phone you have in your pocket or your purse or your handbag, that is the kind of device that can connect you with the billions of people. With the basic laptop that you've got, I mean, we built our entire business on $500 basic Windows laptops. We still work on basic Windows laptops, right? Like, it literally, the tech is simple. Take some challenges. There's definitely a learning curve. We've been through it. We weren't traditionally trained, but there's YouTube that can answer all your how-to questions. It is possible for you. It takes a lot of work, and life becomes so fulfilling when you're in alignment with being of service, giving value to an audience, and aligning with that abundance through helping them solve their problems, helping them kind of find the solutions that they're already looking for. There is a lot of potential in that. We can go deeper into the nuts and bolts of how that works in a future video if you'd like. This one's obviously long enough, so comment below if you think you'd like more like actual a little more tactical, right? Like, how do you get the money into your account? Like, we can go there. Or if this has been super helpful, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. We do hope it was helpful for you. Really, at the core is, what is in your heart? What are you really here to do? There is a way for you to share that light and message with the world, and that's what the world needs, is more and more people to come alive and vibrantly shine, and together, each of us accomplishing our unique missions and life purposes. That is how we can truly make the world a better place. I do happen to know that Miles has created an incredible resource of YouTube videos with all very tactical nuts and bolts things about entrepreneurship. So if you are already along this path and you want to check that out, what is your YouTube channel?
Just search for Miles Beckler. We have a training on how to market on Instagram, how to market on Pinterest. Melanie's been a guest a few times. WordPress blogging, how to YouTube videos, like all that tactical stuff. I'm just making sure it's out there for the world.
But yeah, we are here to be of service. So if you want to talk more about spiritual entrepreneurship and how to thrive, comment below and let us know. And then I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.